back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Sam Menzie, and we have a great show for you today. First, we'll be talking about the first game being played of the new season in South Korea with the Dodgers and the Padres. Then we'll be talking about some power rankings with the recent signing of Blake Snell. I wanted to go over them again and because they were affected. And finally, we'll be talking about some general news stories around the league that I did want to touch upon. Before we do that, I'd like to ask you to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that the question does get run in the air, please use the link GSMCpodcast.net you see on the screen. Really does help me, really does help a lot, really does help the show, really does help the entire network. So thank you so much for that, and let's get straight into the stream today. All right, so as I stated before, the first topic we'll be talking about today is, of course, the first game being played of the new season. It's been a long, long road to get to this point, a very, very interesting offseason, to say the least, where we saw a lot of mega contracts being handed out, mainly by the Dodgers. A lot of players still in the market during spring training, a lot of new things happening, but we're finally at the first game. It's not really opening day, as I would put it, because I've talked about this last episode as well, but really opening day, in my opinion, is where everyone plays. You get that 1 o'clock game, the 4 o'clock game, the 7 o'clock games, the 10 o'clock games, and just all-day baseball to start the season. That's what I'm used to as a baseball fan. But, it is the first game of the season, and I'm very excited for it. I do think the Seoul series is a great idea. I think always bringing the game to new audiences is a great idea, especially one like Korea, where there are a lot of baseball players from there, including a lot of players on the Padres, most notably their starting shortstop, Ha-Sung Kim, who is one of the better Korean players of all time, I'd say at this point, both in the KBO and in U.S. now. So I think the Padres and Dodgers were definitely great fits to play this game, and I definitely think Korea was a great place to have this game if you are going to go international. I think there are a lot of other great choices as well, but I do think Korea was one of the better choices they could have picked, so I'm happy about that for Manfred. So, we're going to summarize this game here and give you my thoughts on it. So, first up, we have in the top, we're going to go over all the notable moments, by the way, and then I'll give my wrap-up on it. For the top of the third, bases loaded, 3-2, 2 outs. Max Muncy at the plate. Yu Darvish strikes him out. Big out by Yu Darvish there to keep the game close at the start. Darvish looking to do a really good season. Off some not amazing season last year. He had an okay one. He was a good amount. He was injured for a little bit of it. So both him and Muncy are looking for nice starts to their season and keep it going. So I think it was a good start by Darvish, and unfortunately Muncy couldn't come together with it. Next, we had in the bottom of the third the first runs of the new season. Xander Bogaerts, the new second baseman for the Padres. He had a single on a line drive to center field, James Outman, and the new third baseman for the Padres for this game, Tyler Wade, scored, and it was 1-0 Padres. Jurickson Profar then singled on a soft bunt ground ball to pitcher Tyler Glasnow. Manny Machado went to third. Ha-Sung Kim went to second. So that was another nice moment there. Nice little bunt by Profar. Campusano came up with the bases loaded now. He grounded into a double play. Mookie Betts to Gavin Lux to Freddie Freeman. Manny Machado scored to make it 2-1. San Diego. It's not showing me how. Yeah, okay, sorry about that. The Dodgers got the other run from a Jason Hayward sacrifice fly to Tatis. So they tied it up there 1-1. Sorry about me not telling you how they got the other run. After that, we have in the top of the fifth, Max Muncy striked out again on a foul tip. It was 2-2, man on first and third, 2 outs. Could have been a nice way to break open the game for the Dodgers, give themselves a lead. But again, Muncy strikes out. I wouldn't be too concerned if I'm a Dodgers fan about him striking out. It's only the first game of the season, but 2 opportunities there. I think Muncy should have come up clutching at least one of them. So not exactly what you want to see there. In the top of the eighth now, Teoscar Hernandez singled on a line drive to new center fielder Jackson Merrill. After that, we had James Outman walking to put Max Muncy to third and Teoscar Hernandez to second. The base is now loaded with no outs. Recent Dodgers signee Enrique Hernandez doing his third stint with the Dodgers here. He hit a sacrifice fly to left fielder Jose Azucar, and Max Muncy scored, tying up the game for the Dodgers, making it 2-2. Sorry about my camera being a little far away. I'll change that. After that, man on first and second, 1 out. We have Gavin Lux reaching on a fielder's choice, fielded by Jake Cronenworth. Teoscar Hernandez scored, making it 3-2 Dodgers. After that, we had Mookie Betts singling on a ground ball to left fielder Jose Azucar. James Outman scored. Gavin Lux went to second. So, Dodgers have a 4-2 lead now on the Padres. Great start by them. Great start to the season. After that, we had Shohei Ohtani singling on a line drive to left fielder Jose Azucar. Gavin Lux scored. Mookie Betts second. First RBI for Ohtani in Dodger Blue, starting off what's supposed to be a great career in Dodger Blue. I would think it is going to be as well. So, great job by the Dodgers there to get that game. I mean, always a great job always a good job to win in the first part of the game, first game of the season. Sorry. So, yeah, definitely exciting if you're a Dodgers fan for this season. I mean, I don't know how it couldn't be exciting considering you signed Shohei Ohtani. So, yeah. After I want to mention about the Gavin Lux RBI, which I did not mention before. The RBI he got to score some runs there to make it 3-2. It went right through Jay Cronenworth's glove to score a run, which was absolutely insane. I was not up for this, unfortunately. I was not awake at 6 a.m. But, yeah, I don't know how that happened. It was really crazy. So, good job by the Dodgers to get luck there. And unfortunate for Jay Cronenworth, you can't really do much there with your glove. So, you gotta improve upon that. You gotta just keep going. Only the first game, so it's not that big of a deal, but it is something you want to work on for the future. So, just general thoughts on this game. I'm glad the Dodgers came through. I'm glad they won. They have a lot of pressure upon them during the season, and it's good that they lived up to it for at least one game. Padres, again, not a huge deal. It is the first game, so we want to see them improve, but not a big deal that this happened. Going over the notable performances here. Xander Bogaerts, who was leading off the game for the Padres, which is an interesting decision by new manager Mike Schilt, in my opinion. He had 2 hits and 4 at-bats, obviously had an RBI. Tatis had an offer, so did Jake Cronenworth, so did Manny Machado, but he did have a walk, so it's okay. Ha-Sung Kim back in Korea, walked once but did not get a hit. Jurickson Profar back in San Diego got a hit. After that, we had Tyler Wade, the new third baseman for the Padres. With Manny Machado nursing his injury, he's going to play there a little bit, with Manny Machado being at DH, but it won't be for that long, I don't think. And Jackson Merrill did nothing in his MLB debut, but again, not a huge deal. He's still really, really good, and I'm still really looking forward to watching what he can do. In his first start of the year with the Padres, obviously, Darvish went 3 2/3, gave up 2 hits, only 1 run, 3 walks, 3 Ks, so kind of a short leash for him, but did give up 3 walks, so I understand. Again, first game of the season, was probably in a jam when they had to take him out, so it's not that surprising, but obviously want to improve upon that. Tom Cosgrove came in for 2 innings, for 2/3 of an inning for relief, gave up only a hit, but was good. After that, we had new signee Wandy Peralta giving up an earned run in his first outing as a Padre, 1 inning pitched, 1 walk, 2 walks, 1 strikeout, 1 earned run, so not great, but they signed him to a big deal, so I'm hoping he can get better, of course. Johnny Brito coming out of the bullpen, not a starter for the Padres after being acquired in the Soto trade. Went 2/3 innings, gave up 2 hits, gave up a run, so not a great outing for him. And those are the notable performances for the first game of the season. Just general takeaways, in my opinion. It's not really nothing too notable here. This is kind of what I expected to happen. Both the Dodgers and the Padres still getting warmed up. It's nice that the Dodgers won 5-2. It's nice that Ohtani was performing. And overall, it was nice that the Stars performing. You had Jason Hayward hitting a run, not really a star anymore, but still a notable player, I'd say. Freddie Freeman did nice. Ohtani had his first RBI. Mookie was doing well. So it was good for the Dodgers, who are just built off star power right now and going to be built off star power for a long, long time. It was nice for them that their stars were performing. That's something I would be really happy about if I was a Dodgers fan. Pitching performed well. I didn't go over the Dodgers pitching, actually, which is my fault. I don't know why I didn't do that, so my apologies here. I'm going to go over that right now. Tyler Glasnow did do pretty well in his first Dodgers debut. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't horrible as well, so that's kind of just what you're looking for right now, just to get him started back off injury. Trying to keep him healthy for the entire season. And his first start with the Dodger Blue, I'm sure he'd be nervous. So Tyler Glasnow went 5 innings, he gave up 2 earned runs, walked 4, struck out 3, 3.60 ERA for right now to start the season. Again, not a great outing, but it's really all you can ask for coming off the start of the season this early. Nothing too crazy. So it's understandable that he didn't do great. You're trying to just build him up as the season progresses. So again, not too crazy. Ryan Brazier was really great out of the bullpen. So was Daniel Hudson, Joe Kelly. Evan Phillips came in for the save. So good job by the Dodgers bullpen. That's really, really good and has been really, really good for a number of years now. So it's really encouraging for them to be performing this well already into the season. Obviously, Reshine, Brazier, Evan Phillips has been a great closer since coming over from Tampa Bay. So great job by the Dodgers bullpen to keep it locked, and good job there. Mookie Betts had 2 hits, so did Ohtani. Will Smith had a hit. Max Muncy had a hit. Teoscar Hernandez had a hit. Gavin Lux scored a run. Enrique Hernandez also had a hit. So, again, good job by the Dodgers. All the new additions are performing well. Kike is. Teoscar Hernandez is. Shohei, of course, is. But other than that, you have guys performing, other guys who stayed there and going to be part of this core for a while performing well. Of course, you have Mookie. Of course, you have Will Smith. So it's exciting if you're a Dodgers fan going into the season, of course. I mean, when you sign Shohei Ohtani, you sign Yoshinobu Yamamoto, you sign Teoscar Hernandez, you sign James Paxton, of course it's going to be exciting. I don't really think there's any debate about that. So it's really nice for the Dodgers that all these guys are coming through in the first game. It was good for them that they were performing really well. I'm glad Ohtani did. Obviously, there was a bomb threat before the game for Ohtani, which was crazy. They determined that it was just someone playing a really, really awful and weird joke, and there was no threat to it, and the game went on, and nothing happened, obviously. But good for him to be under that pressure and keep doing it. He also just announced he got married. His wife is being shown a lot, so I think there's going to be a lot more pressure as a Dodger than Ohtani's been used to. Obviously, he's under a lot of pressure always because he is the best player in baseball right now. He is the two-way phenom. But I'm just talking about mainly media attention, how he's going to be covered 24/7, which he was covered a lot. It's just he wasn't covered as much with the Angels because, frankly, they aren't the Dodgers, and they weren't that good in his tenure. So I think that's something that he's going to have to get used to, something that's going to have to be part of his life now as a Dodger. I think he understood that when he signed there. So good to see him performing under that. Good to see their new additions coming through if you're a Dodgers fan. Teoscar Hernandez performing well. Kike Hernandez getting an RBI, so good for them. After that, for the Padres, some nice building blocks to show upon. Jackson Merrill didn't look that overwhelmed at the plate. Had some good at-bats, so excited for him. Excited to see what he can do. I think he's an absolute beast, and I'm glad they found a way to get him on the starting roster. Even if it wasn't his natural shortstop position, I'm still glad he was there. After that, you're hoping Manny Machado can come back because I don't really think you want Tyler Wade as your starting third baseman. Darvish was okay. Needs to show a little bit more, but again, it's only the first game of the season. We're not trying to overreact here. So overall, good job by both teams. Good building blocks to get upon the season, and really excited for the season to commence soon. And I'm excited there was baseball today. Tomorrow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto will be starting, so that's going to be really exciting. I'm going to be definitely looking at the highlights to watch that. Really excited to watch it. Also, just a quick thing about the Padres. Tommy Pham's still a free agent, and you're starting Tyler Wade at third base and Jurickson Profar in the outfield. Why? You can't sign Tommy Pham, really? Just give him a $3 to $4 million contract. I don't understand why he's still a free agent. But that was just me going off on a tiny little tangent about the Padres. I don't understand why they don't sign him if there's a clear need for him there. But it's okay. Still hoping he gets signed soon. There's been a lot of rumors about him. And I think going back to the Padres, is a perfect fit for him and for the team. So really excited to see that, and really excited to watch the season, of course. Always going to be a lot of new content as the baseball season progresses here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. So super excited to talk about that. All right, so that was our first segment. Sorry if it was a little all over the place. I am going to be recapping a lot of games going into the season. Obviously, this is only the first one, so I had to kind of stretch it out a little bit. It's going to become more organized once the season goes here, but this is kind of not a test run, sort of, quote unquote, but more of just a first time trying to see how it works. So I apologize if it was a little sloppy, but I think it went all right. I think I recapped the game fairly well. So, yeah, glad I could recap the game there. Glad I could talk about a game finally happening. So super excited about that. And we're going to go to our second segment here, which is going to be about the power rankings. I wanted to touch upon the power rankings again. We haven't done in a few weeks now. And with the Snell signing, I figured they're going to change a little bit. So that's what I want to talk about. They did change with the Snell signing, by the way. Just a little spoiler, I guess. So excited to talk about this, and excited to show you my rankings. So we'll talk about that after the break. Thanks. Bye.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. Some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our second segment. But before we do that, I would like to ask you again to please follow the show, like and subscribe. Use the donation link on the screen, gsmcpodcast.net. Really does help me, really does help the entire show. So thank you so much for that, and let's get straight back into the show. All right, so we're going to be talking about our second segment here, which, as I mentioned it before, is going to be the power rankings for the National League. I'm going to do the American League after that, but I didn't have enough time to talk about it in one segment, so it's going to be in two. So I want to talk about the power rankings again, as I haven't done it in a few weeks, and I always love rankings. I always love power rankings. It's always super fun in my opinion. So, and it's definitely changed after the Snell signing, which you will see. That's really why I wanted to do it, and it is closer and closer to the season, and I don't think a Jordan Montgomery signing for any team is really going to drastically put them over any other team. I think there'll be one case about that happening, and I'll talk about it in the AL part, so kind of a little thing there. But yeah, let's get straight into the NL Power Rankings. So we're going to start off from 15 to 1. At 15, no surprise, it is the Colorado Rockies. Not going to spend too much time on the Rockies here. They're really bad. They don't have much going for them. Their best player is... Who is their best player? I don't know. It's probably Nolan Jones, which is not a great, exciting thing. He broke out after a trade from the Guardians last year. Great, you have a nice young player, but if Nolan Jones your best player, I think that shows where your franchise is right now. They don't have much going for them. Chris Bryant's been a disaster since coming there after replacing Arenado, quote unquote. So not a great time right now to be a Rockies fan. I don't know if it ever is. So now I'm not going to talk about the Rockies much here. They're really bad. Number 14 is the Washington Nationals. Now I want to preface, I don't think the Nationals are horrible, but as of right now, they are. What I'm trying to say here is they have a lot of young talent coming up, presumably this season, and I think a lot of that is going to help them. So I think if everything goes right, they will be much higher on this list come towards the end of the season. So as of right now, they are 14 just because their Major League roster right now is bad, but if your younger guys start coming up and performing like James Wood, Dylan Cruz, Robert Hassel, guys like that, I mean all over the farm system, Brady House as well, I think you'll do really, really well, and I think they'll kind of have a vision going forward and kind of show why these young guys are the future of their organization and why they are really good and why they're so sought after in baseball circles. So I don't think they're that bad because they have a young core there, but the pitching's not that good, and as of right now, because the players are not on the Major League roster, I will have to put them at 14. At number 13 is their NL East counterpart, the Miami Marlins. Now, the Marlins have not done much this offseason, letting a key piece like Jorge Soler walk, which I think was a big deal. You also had a lot of pitching injuries. You had Sandy Alcantara getting hurt, Yuri Perez getting hurt right now, probably not starting the season in opening day. Will probably be on the IL at that time. Yes, you have a lot of pitching depth. You have guys like Jesus Luzardo to fill in, Braxton Garrett, Ryan Weathers, AJ Puck, but you're still getting tested. I mean, I don't really know what you're going to see in AJ Puck or Ryan Weathers to make you seem like those are franchise guys. Both are mainly relievers. They're trying to make them starters right now because they're in a crunch. Could they see something in them? Absolutely, but it's right now they're making them starters because of where they are and because they are in a crunch with their roster right now. So not very high in the Marlins going into the season. I don't know how Tim Anderson will perform. I think that's kind of their biggest X factor right now. If he can't perform well, I think you have a nice trade bait at the deadline or someone you can build around at the shortstop position. Hitting's not that good. Jake Berger's there, who's nice. You also have some other guys there as well, like Josh Bell, who performed well come over from the deadline. Jazz Chisholm, of course, being there. Brian De La Cruz, but not much going for right there if you're a Marlins fan. So I have him at number 13, and I feel pretty confident about that. Number 12 is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, the Pirates aren't that bad. They're kind of in the same boat as the Nationals. They have a lot of young talent, but I kind of just want to see it perform and come up before I can make a definitive ranking on them. The thing about the Pirates is they are building some stuff. It's just right now the MLB roster is really bad. You're going to have guys like Mark Gonzalez throw consistent innings for you. I mean, that kind of shows where you are right now with your roster. So I think there is a lot going for them in the future. I definitely think that is true. But as of right now, I do have them 12th. But if everything goes right, I can see them going higher on this list. And I think they're neck and neck right now with the number 11 team on my ranking, which is the Milwaukee Brewers. I kind of think both teams are neck and neck right now. Both are in vastly different scenarios. The Pirates are trying to be competitive for the first time in years, and the Brewers are kind of entering a rebuild for the first time in a while, having these great teams led by great pitching staffs with Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns. Well, Corbin Burns got traded, and Brandon Woodruff's out for most likely the entire year. So you're definitely going into a transitional period as a franchise. You have younger talent coming up. Yes, you have guys you acquired like DL Hall, and young hitters you have on the lineup like Tyler Black, Sal Frelick, Jackson Chourio, of course, he's a beast. Of course, you have Christian Yelich there. So you're going into a new era as a Brewers fan, entering sort of what is a rebuild. And I kind of would put them here with the Pirates because I think both teams right now are on the same tier. Not awful, but not good. And I could definitely see the Pirates finishing. With the Brewers if everything does go correct. I'm really interested to see what direction the Brewers franchise does go in. Will they be a rebuilding team? Will they kind of bridge the gap with both? Will they be good? So it's going to be interesting for me to watch. Number 10, we have the St. Louis Cardinals. Yes, there's 3 NL Central teams in the back-to-back-to-back. And guess what? There's one right above it. That shows you how much I really believe that the NL Central is kind of compacted together. But 10 right now, we have the Cardinals. The Cardinals have a lot going for them. They have a great hitting core, a lot of young guys to watch. They signed Sonny Gray. And then the negative is kind of everything else. The bullpen isn't horrible. You have Ryan Helsley back there. But that pitching rotation, man, I've talked about it so much, and I'm going to keep talking about it because it's a travesty. You have such good hitters in that lineup, such good young talent in there, and you signed Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson to back it up. Just unbelievable in my opinion, and really just bad. I don't agree with it whatsoever. Sonny Gray already got hurt, which is not good for you going into the season, having Miles Michaelis as your opening day starter. Not great. So I'm not very high on them, but I give them the benefit of the doubt to be over the Brewers and the Pirates and go into the top 10 just because of experience, because they do have so much talent on this team. Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt as the veteran guys, Mason Wynn, Jordan Walker, Lars Nootbaar, Brenton Donovan, so many other guys in the hitting core that are great. Wilson Contreras, of course. So a lot of talent there. That's why I have them at 10. But I think the Brewers, and the Pirates are pretty close in the situations they are in. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone goes over the other or not. So I'm going to watch that here and going to see what happens. Number 9, I have another NL Central team. Another one. The Chicago Cubs. Now, again, I have all these teams packed together in the same division because I do think they are very similar. I think they have a lot of similarities about them. I think they're in the same kind of situations. But I think the Cubs are a little better than these teams. I think they're trying to be competitive, clearly, and I think they are doing a good job at that. I think mainly this year is just about them proving to other people that they are contenders, that this team is very good. They added some nice pieces, and of course Craig Counsell, who's not a player but is a manager and still is very, very valuable. Shota Imanaga, who's a true wild card in every sense of the word. Hector Neris is a nice bullpen arm coming over from Houston. So I think they made some nice moves, and I think they have a nice team and core standing here. Nico Horner, Cody Bellinger, Dansby Swanson, Michael Busch you acquired, Matt Mervis, Christopher Morel, Ian Happ. You have a nice core there. I just think the complementary pieces are what need to perform, and I think the pitching staff needs to perform. If Justin Steele can be an ace again, I think that would be such a huge upgrade for you guys. So overall, I am high on the Cubs. I just need everyone to perform to their potential, and I need them to show people that they are a contender now, that they are going to perform really well. Number 8, I have the New York Mets. The Mets are a very interesting scenario. I'm really looking at their pitching staff as a big X factor. With Senga getting hurt, you have such boomer bust guys there like Tyler McGill, sign guys like Luis Severino, Sean Manaea, Jose Quintana needs to stay healthy. The lineup is good, but there are some weak spots. Of course, third base is one. I'm not that high in Brett Beatty. I don't think he'll perform that well. Harrison Bader can't really hit, but brings a lot of value with defense. Charlie Marte is a big question mark coming off injury, but you have some nice pieces there as well. Of course, I mean Francisco Alvarez, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, Mark Vientos, another wild card with him being a younger guy. So there's a lot of nice pieces with this Mets team. It's just they're so boomer bust that I don't know where to put them. I really think they are going to either make the playoffs or be one of the worst teams in the league. I think it all depends on that rotation. How will Severino and how will Manaea perform coming off of last year and the interesting years they did have, for good or for not. So definitely going to be really interested in seeing what the Mets do, seeing how they do perform. So that's the team I'm watching. I couldn't put them anywhere above 8, as I think the teams above them are definitely better. So that's where the Mets are right now. After that, at 7, we have the Padres, who played today, of course. The Padres I had below the Mets, but that was before they traded for Dylan Cease. I love that move for them. Getting another pitcher, especially an ace level one like Dylan Cease, was pretty great. Having him, Darvish, Musgrove at the top of that rotation with Michael King adds so much more legitimacy to that. You would have had 4 and 5 as guys fighting for real roles, which is not good if you're trying to compete. But now you only have the 5 spot, which seems to be won by Matt Waldron, who's a really interesting case. So I think it just brings so much more legitimacy to that Padres rotation. The hitting core has a lot of question marks as of right now. I mean, I don't know who's playing DH. I don't know who's playing left field forever. But just the sheer amount of talent there. I mean, Luis Campusano, Jake Cronenworth, Manny Machado, Ha-Sung Kim, Fernando Tatis Jr., there's Jackson Merrill. There's so much talent on that hitting core that I have to put them here. I have to put them high. Still think they're a good team, and I still think I could put them higher. I think they're neck and neck right now with our number 17, which we're going to talk about. Our number 16, which is the San Francisco Giants. I had the Padres above the Giants after they acquired Cease, but with the Snell signing, I think they are better than them now. I think the big problem was the pitching staff and the injuries the Giants sustained on it. I think bringing in Snell just brings so much more depth and legitimacy to that rotation. You now have him, you have Logan Webb, you have Kyle Harrison, you have Jordan Hicks for the first half. Then you get back guys like Tristan Beck, like Keaton Winn, Robbie Ray, Alex Cobb. I think if they can stay afloat with the pitching staff in the first half, they're going to be great. I think the hitting core has a lot of talent there. You sign Jung-Hoo Lee, you sign Matt Chapman, you sign Jorge Soler. You have other nice guys there as well, like Conforto, like Wilmer Flores, Marco Luciano's coming up. Patrick Bailey's a beast. So I do have the Giants in a playoff spot right now, and they're a really, really good team, and I love the moves they made. They didn't get a superstar, but they got a lot of nice complementary pieces to be around the team. I think you could say Snell's a superstar, but he probably won't be there for long because of the contract, so I don't really classify him as that right now. So going into the top 5 here, kind of a hot take in a way, is the Cincinnati Reds being top 5. I love the Reds so much. I love what they're going to do. I'm super high in them. I've talked about this so much in the podcast that people other than Red fans are probably sick of me. I love their young hitting core. I love all the sheer amount of talent they have. I think the pitching additions were great. I love everything about this team. I think they're the clear favorite in the NL, in my opinion. They added nice to the bullpen with Brent Suter. Already have one of the better closers in the league with Alexis Diaz in the back end. So I love everything about this Reds team. I think all their young hitters are going to finally come up, going to perform to their potential, and I think they're going to be really, really good this year, and I'm super excited to watch them. At number 4, we have the Philadelphia Phillies. Nothing much to say here. We've talked about them a lot. They're so, so good. Adding Whit Merrifield was really their only notable addition this entire offseason. But they still have a great team. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, top of that rotation. Ranger Suarez there as well. Taijuan Walker, a bounce-back candidate. Christopher Sanchez. The bullpen has a lot of nice pieces. I mean, the lineup, of course, is incredible. JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, the new first baseman, Bryson Stott, Trey Turner, Alec Boehm, but still there, I guess. Kyle Schwarber, Johan Rojas, Brandon Marsh, Nick Castellanos. There's just so much sheer amount of talent there. With the pitching staff still being pretty good, I think it's clear that they're number 4, trying to make another World Series like they did 2 years ago. So definitely excited to watch the Phillies this season, see what they can do. And they're always really exciting when it comes to playoff time, so we'll see what happens there. After that, we have their NL counterpart, the team who beat them in the NL. Of course, they're the NL counterpart. Sorry, we're talking about the NL only. My fault. The team that beat them in the NLCS last year to make it to the playoffs, I have above them the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, I think the Diamondbacks and the Phillies are very close, but I think the sheer amount of talent the Diamondbacks added this offseason is pretty indicative and shows that they are better. Eduardo Rodriguez brings a real number 3 option in that rotation that I think they were lacking before, even in the playoffs and the World Series. I think Jock Peterson and Ren Grichuk bring a really nice DH platoon for that position. I think Eugenio Suarez solidifies that third base spot. That was a question mark going in. I mean, you had Evan Longoria playing real minutes there in 2024. So I think overall they had a great offseason, and that's why I have them number 3 above the Phillies. But the Phillies add someone potentially and maybe go higher. Sure, I think if they added Montgomery, I'd still have the Diamondbacks over them just because of who they did add. But I think it's really close, and I think these two teams are in a tier of their own right now as being really, really good, but not up to the level of the top 2 teams, which I'm not going to spend too much time on because we know who they are. It's the Dodgers and the Braves. They're clearly the class of the NL right now, just on paper. These rosters are incredible. Of course, with the Dodgers, with what they've added, they're number 1, Braves are number 2, but both teams are incredible. Again, we know what the Dodgers and Braves are doing as of now. We know about them. We know how good they are, so not going to spend too much time on it, but there we go. There are my NL power rankings. Not too many surprises there. I think big one maybe is the Reds being top 5, but I'm very high in them, and I really excited to see how the season unfolds, and excited to see what the season has in store for us. So there we go. That's my second segment. We're going to go into a break here, but the third segment is going to be about the AL power rankings. So building off that, of course. So we'll take a break, but then we'll talk about that. So thanks.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment. It is, of course, going to play off the second segment I just talked about, which was power rankings in the National League. So the only right thing to do here now is talk about power rankings in the American League. So, yeah, haven't changed that much from the last time. There are some injuries that I wanted to talk about, which is why I have some teams where they are. Yankees, hint, hint. But, yeah, I want to talk about the AL and the power rankings, and super excited to get into it. So, here we go. First, at number 15, no surprise, it is the Oakland Athletics. Now, it was a big debate between them and the number 14 team to put them at 15, but I went with the A's. They have nothing going for them. They have, like, 0 good players. I'm really confused with how they're going to win any games this year. I don't know what to say about the A's. They're really, really bad. Yeah, not much to say about them. They're not good. That's kind of it. So, yeah, not a fan of the A's this year. I don't think anyone is. They don't really have any pieces at all that you could build upon. I mean, Brent Rooker was okay, and that's kind of it. Yeah, not really looking forward to the A's this season, especially with all the turmoil in their organization as well. Who knows if they're going to even be the Athletics for that much longer. So that's why I had them at 15, and that's why I had the number 14 team, the White Sox, there. The White Sox, at least you can see stuff is building around. You can see they have a clear vision. They have nice complementary pieces, most notably Luis Robert. This is a guy I think is a franchise player. One of the better center fielders in the league. I think is really, really good, and I think is a franchise cornerstone. I think the White Sox were right not to trade him, and I think once they get back to relevancy, whenever that is, he's going to be the guy they build around. So that's why I have him at 14 and not 15. They're still bad, don't get me wrong, but you can at least see some pieces there. You can see a building. You can see the building blocks of the organization. So I don't think they're as bad as the A's or even on that level, but I still think they're really bad, and that's why I do have them at number 14 here. They also have some other nice pieces there, like Eloy Jimenez. They traded for Michael Soroka, who I think is a nice bounce-back candidate. some other nice players as well on that team. I think Martin Maldonado was a nice signing for the young pitching staff. Really high on Drew Thorpe and Greg Crochet, seeing what they can do. So there's a lot of pieces there for the White Sox. They're still bad, but there's still some things there that you really can't see with other bad teams, most notably the A's. Also the Rockies, but that was the NL. I don't like the Rockies, if you can't tell. 13 here, we have the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Now, the Angels have some things brewing here. I do think that. I like some of the young hitters they have on the roster. Logan O'Hoppe, Zach Neto most notably. Nolan Shanuel is really nice as well. Mickey Moniak had a nice bounce-back season. So there's a lot going for them on this roster. The thing is, just altogether, the team, I mean, the lineup has a lot of question marks. The pitching staff, of course, is not that good, as it's always been with the Angels. So that's why I do have them here as the 13th best team. Again, they're not absolutely horrible, horrible, absolutely awful like the A's are, but because you can see some of the core coming in, you can see some of the guys coming in, but they're still not a good team. They didn't win that many games last year with the best player in baseball. Now with the best player in baseball leaving, what's going to happen there? So I don't think they're going to be that good, and that's why I have them at 13. But again, I can see the pieces coming in. So if everything performs well, maybe they'll be higher. At 12, I have the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians just perplex me with what they're trying to do. Their pitching staff's pretty good, but their hitting is just so bad. Of course, you have Jose Ramirez. You have Andres Jimenez, who's a nice player, but after that, there's not much. You have Bo Naylor, a catcher, who's a nice developmental piece, but you just sent down Colin Manzardo. Like, he's one of your better power hitters on the roster already, and you sent him down to the minor leagues to flip his service time. I understand that that's what they want to do as a small market team, but still, just if you're trying to win, why would you send him down? I don't understand. So it's clear to me that they aren't trying to win that hard. I don't think they're that good. I don't think there's a lot of pieces on this team that can really perform for them, really big parts of their team. So yeah, that's why I do have them at number 12. But again, they're not horrible. It's just they're super boring. There's really nothing going for them. Their pitching staff's nice, but they've already had some injuries to it. I don't think Shane Bieber will be here past the trade deadline. Interested to see how Tristan McKenzie does perform. So nice pieces, but just overall a super boring team, man. That's why I do have them ending up at 12. I think they're pretty neck and neck with the 11 team as being really boring and kind of in their this tier of their own, as not the worst teams in the league, but not that good. In the Boston Red Sox, the Red Sox might have been a little above this, but they lost Lucas Giolito, and their pitching staff is just not doing right now. Sorry for moving around again. It is just something I do. I'm trying to work on it, but yeah, if you're watching a video and you see me moving around, that's why. But yeah, they're just really boring, the Red Sox. I don't know what to say here. Could they add Jordan Montgomery? Sure. Would that make them better than teams above this list? No. But they have some pieces, I guess. Brian Bayo's super good. You've heard my acclaim for him, how much I love him as a prospect and as a player. Rafael Devers is really good, of course, franchise guy. That's kind of it. Like, you got a lot of young players, but they haven't come up yet. So the Red Sox, for me, are kind of just like the Guardians, super boring, just not a team I'm interested in at all. So, yeah, that's kind of it. That's why they're number 11. Didn't even crack the top 10. What a fall from grace for the Red Sox. 2021 had that great season. It's just been downhill from there. They could have spent a lot of guys. Tell me you couldn't have gave that Snell contract. I don't understand why you haven't signed Jordan Montgomery yet as well. So, yeah, not great for them if you're a Red Sox fan with how boring I do think they are. So, not great. Again, they're not even that bad. It's just they're boring. So that's why they are here at number 11. Number 10, I have one of the surprising teams of the entire offseason with the moves they made, the Kansas City Royals. Now, the Royals made a lot of good moves, in my opinion. I think most notably signing Seth Lugo was a great move. I think Michael Wacha was a great complementary piece to that rotation. I think Hunter Renfroe was a good piece of the lineup. Adam Frazier's fine depth, I guess. Bobby Witt Jr., of course, great extension there. So the Royals have a lot of pieces. It's just putting it together. I don't think this is going to be their year to really compete. Yes, Bobby Witt Jr., great player. Vinny Pasquantino, great. Michael Garcia, going to be okay. But MJ Melendez, fine. But overall, the bullpen's kind of worrisome. Pitching staff, while is okay, there are some question marks there. So definitely an interesting season for the Royals. They could be much better than this, but I think there just are simply a lot better teams than them. I think they're a good team, but overall in the landscape of the AL, and especially the AL Central, I just don't think they're going to be going to be doing that much, so that's what I'm looking out for them here. Number 9, I have their AL Central counterpart, the Detroit Tigers. Now, I love what the Tigers did this offseason, maybe even more than the Royals. I love the Jack Flaherty signing. I thought it was a little expensive, but it's a one-year deal, so it's fine. I like the Urshela signing. I like the Marcana trade, bringing a nice veteran DH to that young lineup. I think that was really nice. Other than that, I think the Shelby Miller was a good signing for the bullpen. Bringing back Andrew Chafin was nice as well. So I think there were a lot of nice moves made by the Tigers this offseason. I think they're really high in this young core they have, including guys like Spencer Torkelson, who I think once he finds his groove in the major leagues will be a beast. Riley Green has been really, really good, and I think he's going to continue that. Parker Meadows, a nice guy coming up. Kerry Carpenter as well. Pitching staff is great as well. I think Tarek Skubal is going to be a dark horse Cy Young candidate. Casey Mize coming back from injury is going to be good. So I think overall this Tigers team has a lot going for it. I think they could be really good. The AL is tough. That's why I have them at 9. But again, I think that's more indicative on how good the AL is than them. I like the fact that they're trying and they're not just throwing the seasons away like the Tigers of the past might have. So excited for them and excited for their fan base to finally see a winning product on the field. After that, at number 8, we have, surprisingly, the defending world champion Texas Rangers. Now, this was a tough decision for me because I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt as they are the defending world champions. I mean, I doubted them all last year. I had them lose to the Rays in the first round, and then they beat them in 2 and then went to the World Series. So I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I just couldn't. This pitching staff for me, man, it does not do it. Nathan Eovaldi, John Gray, Andrew Heaney, Dane Dunning, they're fine guys, but are they really going to repeat last year? I don't think so. Max Scherzer's out for a long time. So is Jacob deGrom. They're both older, so they probably will take a little more longer time rehabbing. So I don't like the fact they haven't added a starting pitcher yet. I mean, they say Cody Bradford's going to be in the starting rotation, which just not what you want for his title defense. So I think Dylan Cease would have made them a lot better team if they were able to pull the trigger on that. But they unfortunately weren't. So what can you do about that? But I think the hitting talent is just incredible. That's why they're not lower. Of course, Wyatt Langford, Evan Carter, great in the outfield. Adolis Garcia as well. Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, of course. Josh Young, Nathaniel Lowe, Jonah Heim. Like, there's such great hitting talent. Overall, I don't believe in the pitching, and that's why they are 8th. I think there's a lot of good teams in the AL, and that's kind of also why they're a little lower, but I think it is just mainly their pitching staff. After that, we have number 6, the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, I just skipped over an entire team. That's my fault. At 7, I have the Rays. The Rays are a good team, but there's a lot of injuries and a lot of question marks about this team, mainly the pitching staff. Because of the injuries, I don't know how you're going to mainly pick up all that value. I mean, Shane McClanahan is an amazing pitcher. Jeffrey Springs was great. Drew Rasmussen was great, and they're all out. So these are all guys that were big parts of the Rays core, big parts of their team, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to replicate them in the ways that they usually can because they are the Rays. Ryan Pepio, Taj Bradley, guys like that, really good. Zach Eflin, really good. Aaron Savali, good, but I think going into the depth of the season is kind of thin, and as much as the Rays have magic as they have every year, I don't know if that's going to happen this year. Shortstop situation you have to figure out as well. So I think there's a lot of question marks about this Rays team, and that's why I have them as 4th in the AL East. I don't think they're bad. I just think there's a lot of good teams in the AL. The team I have above them is the team I talked about right before by accident, which of course is the Toronto Blue Jays. Now the Blue Jays have a lot going for them. I think their pitching staff's pretty great. I like the additions of Turner, of IKF, of bringing back Kevin Kiermaier. Yariel Rodriguez is a good addition to the pitching staff in whatever way they decide to use them. So I think it's a lot going for them. I just think it's overall just them, all the players and the entire team putting it together, living up to their potential. I mean, they should be so much better than they are, but Vladdy had a down season last year. There's been some stuff going on with the organization. Kevin Gausman starting the season injured, so that's another negative factor. But I still love the pitching staff and the amount of sheer talent they have on it. I think the hitting core is pretty great. So overall, excited to watch them. I think they have a good team, and that's why I have them in a playoff spot here. At 6, I have the Seattle Mariners. I think the Mariners are an incredible team. and that's why I have them at number 5. I think this is the year they finally put it together, maybe go deep into the playoffs. Julio Rodriguez obviously is the franchise cornerstone, but you added guys around him, which is nice. You started off the season weird, but off-season weird. We thought they're gonna subtract and kind of get rid of money, but they signed Mitch Garver, who was a nice addition to the DH position. Jorge Polanco was a nice addition to third base. I like the pitching staff they have. Of course, it's incredible with all the young talent. Luis Castillo, their ace, leading them. So I think the Mariners have a lot going for them, and I think they're a really great team, and that's why I have them top 5. Number 4, I have the AL Central winners, in my opinion. Twice now it's going to be, if they do win, the Minnesota Twins. I love this team. They did lose a lot this offseason, yes, mainly Sonny Gray, but they have a lot of guys who are going to come up and fill in that position. Guys who didn't get a chance years before, like Chris Paddock, Louis Varland, Simeon Woods Richardson, guys like that. So I think there's a lot of depth in this Twins team. I think they're really, really good. And I think if Correa and Buxton bounce back, they could even be better than number 4. So we'll see. But yeah, I love this Twins team. Love what they got going for them. And I think they're really, really good going into the year. Now, the top 3 are the 3 teams I think are elite. And I kind of have bunched together. But I'll tell you the specific order I have them in. Number 3 is the Baltimore Orioles. Number 2 is the New York Yankees. And number 1 is the Houston Astros. So the reason I have the Astros above the Yankees and the Orioles is for injury reasons. Now, you're going to say, well, Sam, yes, the Yankees lost Cole, and the Aaron Judge situation is weird, and the Orioles lost Kyle Bradish, yes. But didn't the Astros lose Verlander and Urquidy? Yes, they did. But I think the Astros had the depth to withstand it. Hunter Brown, J.P. France, Christian Javier, Framber Valdez, I think are all great. I think they have some other guys coming up who are going to be in more higher positions in this rotation. And also, I don't think Verlander or Urquidy are going to be out that long. I think Cole is going to be out at least 2 months, probably more. So that's why I have the Astros above them. I didn't have them above the Yankees before the injury. Same with the Orioles before the Kyle Bradish injury. But I think there's a lot of questions with those pitching staffs, and I think the Astros have it managed more. I think the lineups are all pretty much equal. I think they're all really good. The Orioles, of course, the younger team, going to be the future of the AL. Yankees, we'll see what happens with the new addition of Soto. Astros added Hader, which is a huge addition to the back end of that bullpen. Brian Abreu to Ryan Presley to Josh Hader is just absolutely incredible, and I think that's another one of the reasons I have him here as a number 1 team. So Orioles, Yankees, Astros can really be in any order in my opinion, but I have them as Astros, Yankees, Orioles. And again, if you have Orioles, Astros, Yankees, Yankees, Orioles, Astros, anything like that is fine with me, but that's why I have them, and I just think overall these 3 teams are the top 3 teams in the AL and are pretty elite. So that was our 3rd segment, talking about some AL Power Rankings. We're going to go into our 4th segment here, which is going to be about some general news stories around the league, usually how I do end it. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about what's going on in the league, and we'll see you after that. So thanks. And we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our 4th and final segment here today, which is going to be just recapping some news stories around the league, some stuff I want to talk about, and some stuff I thought was notable. So, first off, we have some news with the Mets. Tyler McGill has won their 5th spot in the rotation, and will be starting there on opening day. So, Thoughts on this are it was not surprising at all. I think since Senga came down with that injury, Mets people and Mets fans have been looking at McGill as the guy to step up. Personally, in my opinion, I would have picked Jose Butto over him. I think Butto has a lot more going for him. I think he's younger. I think McGill has shown time and time again that he's just mediocre and just kind of an okay major league pitcher and nothing more. I think Butto could have potentially shown more than that, but overall, I don't think it was a huge misdirection by the Mets, so I don't think it was that bad of a decision, but that's who I would have picked. McGill is introducing a new pitch, kind of an American version of Kodai Senga's Ghost Fork, as he put it, so that's definitely been interesting to watch, so we'll see what happens with McGill as that fifth spot in the rotation. Since Senga did go down, as I said, I think he was the leader in the clubhouse for it, so not surprising. Jose Quintana as your ace right now, and McGill as your 5. Not ideal for the Mets, but it is what it is. I mean, injuries always happen, especially pitching injuries, especially to your ace. So, not surprising here. Next, we have Matt McLain of the Reds having a shoulder injury, and he might not start at opening day. This would be not great for the Reds, in my opinion. It wouldn't be horrible because, again, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. But he is their starting shortstop. He is one of the reasons I am so high in the Reds. He was so good last year. I think he's going to be continuing on that. I think he's a great player, and I think he's going to be a future all-star for the Reds and a future superstar as well. I'm really high in him, and I think not having him to start the season would really not be good for the Reds, and something I would not want to see if I'm a Reds fan. But again, it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal with shoulder injury. Not something that's entirely a big deal for a shortstop, a guy who does hit, not pitch. So not something that the Reds should be calling the season's over for, but something to monitor and see what happens. Going off another Red story here, Brandon Williamson, he will be starting the season on the IL, also with a shoulder injury. Now, this is much more of a notable situation if I'm a Reds fan. Brandon Williamson having a shoulder injury. Of course, he is a pitcher and a lefty one at that, so him having a shoulder injury is not good. Definitely not a positive for the Reds. He wasn't going to start the rotation he wasn't going to start the season in the rotation, yes, with the additions of Nick Martinez, Frankie Montas, but was going to be a valuable piece of depth, in my opinion, to that team. Guy who probably would have came out of the bullpen or started in AAA, thrown a lot of spot starts, been a really nice swing man for the Reds, a really valuable piece of that organization and that team, and for next year. So, not a great thing for the Reds, but overall, it can be they can overcome it. It's not the worst thing to happen. So, just hopefully the Brandon Williamson injury and the Matt McLain injury they figure themselves out and they aren't too negative to the Reds going into the season. Again, I don't think either should be that big of a deal, but overall, you're just hoping that everything turns out well. And again, Matt McLain is one of the big reasons I am so high on the Reds, why I had them as a top 5 team in the NL, why I had them winning the NL Central. So as an avid Red supporter, I very much hope that this season will go well for them, and I hope both these players come back from their injury. Asa Lacy is undergoing Tommy John surgery and will miss at least all of 2024 and most of 2025. Asa Lacy was a former top prospect with the Royals, a guy who was picked very high and has just not performed well since coming up from the draft. Has shown some flashes here and there with the Royals organization, but overall has been a pretty big bust. This Tommy John surgery is just another one of that. I think he won't be on the Royals for much longer in his career. This is a guy I was really high on as a prospect a few years ago, was really high on coming out of the draft, and it just simply has not worked out. Things happen like that, not much else to say there, but it's really all I could say as a Royals fan. So, hasn't worked out, unfortunately, just hasn't performed well since being a top draft pick. These things happen. It's really unfortunate for the Royals. I thought he was a guy that had a lot of potential going into his career, so unfortunate, but maybe the Tommy John will be the one thing that helps him. I think with a lot of pitchers it kind of resets their arm, gives them a lot of time to rest, figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to come back, how they're going to attack the rehab. So it could be a positive. I don't really think it will be, but again, crazier things have happened with baseball, and a lot of players have had Tommy John turn into a positive for them. So I think looking at pitchers nowadays, Tommy John is just a thing that's going to happen at some point. Like it's just going to happen. So I don't think it's viewed as the career ender as it might have been a few years ago. So I think it's just something that is going to happen with a pitcher's career because of how hard they throw, how much stress is on their arm. I mean, throwing a baseball like that is not natural. So you're at risk every time you step on the field. So I don't think it's a huge deal that he is getting Tommy John, but I do think it is notable. After that, we had Eduardo Rodriguez. He had a lat issue yesterday in his spring training game with the Diamondbacks coming out of the game early. Something I'm definitely monitoring going forward. Again, I'm very high on the Diamondbacks. I love the signing for them, and I thought it brought a lot of legitimacy to that team. So I'm really hoping that it isn't a big deal and he is going to be fine. He should be fine. I think we would have heard by now if he wasn't going to be fine. So I think it's not a huge deal for the Diamondbacks, but again, something you want to just keep in mind and watch and see what happens as the season goes on. If he is affected by it, if he does start the season on the IL, if he does have to do a stint on the IL because of it. So not something you want to watch here, but overall I think Eduardo Rodriguez should be fine. And again, I'm looking forward to watching him be a big part of this Diamondback season and be a big part of how they can do this season. According to Astros general manager Dana Brown, they will not be pursuing starting pitching going into this year. That is surprising to me. After them losing out on Snell with the Verlander injuries, with the Urquidy injuries, I kind of figured they would. Not even a top guy like Jordan Montgomery, maybe even a smaller guy like Mike Clevenger, potentially Michael Lorenzen. So if I was the Astros, I would go after a pitcher. I do like their depth I talked about before. I think J.P. France, Hunter Brown are guys who can make really quality starts. Hunter Brown himself being in the rotation, no matter what, of course. But I think with Verlander and Urquidy, you don't know what's going to happen. I think Verlander, especially because he is old, I would have gone after heavily a guy like Jordan Montgomery, gone after a guy like Michael Lorenzen pretty hard as well. So I don't agree with this decision personally, but I understand they probably want to just test out the depth, see what's going on with it. So I understand why they're doing it, but again, I disagree with the decision, and I would go after Jordan Montgomery or Michael Lorenzen if I was them. Finally, the Padres, before the game today, of course, selected Tyler Wade and Jackson Merrill, and they are going to be starting for right now on the lineup. Jackson Merrill, of course, will be playing center field as there is no place for him to play his natural position of shortstop or second base because they have Ha-Seong Kim and Xander Bogaerts manning them in a infield for a long time. Ha-Seong Kim might leave after this year because he is a free agent, and that could open up a spot for Jackson Merrill, but as of right now, he is going to be the center fielder. It does make sense for him to be the center fielder. He is very athletic, so he can play center field, really no problem. You don't have a spot for him, but you still want to get him involved in the lineup because he is such a great player. He is such a great young talent, so it's understandable why they played him in center field, and I agree with it, and I think it was a good decision by them. So overall, good decision, and I'm excited to see how he does play. I think he can perform really, really well, and I'm honestly really, really excited seeing what he can do this season. After that, we have Tyler Wade, who is probably going to be the starting third baseman for a little while now. Usually he will be a bench bat, but Manny Machado is nursing an injury, so he is playing DH as of right now. So Tyler Wade should get some action there. He did start in the first game. Brings some nice defensive versatility there. Brings some nice defensive ability there as well. So not really much with the bat, but I think he's a good depth guy. I think elevating him to anything above that would be bad, and I don't think he should be starting full-time. But as of right now, in a crunch with the Machado injury, I think that is what makes sense. Recapping a tiny bit here, Tyler McGill, he did win the 5th spot in the Mets rotation. Good for him. I think we all knew he was the favorite, and I think this is kind of his last chance to prove himself as a fixture in the Mets rotation plans going forward. Matt McLain and Brandon Williamson, some injuries for the Reds. Not great, but Williamson's more of a depth thing, and McLain doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. So overall, I wouldn't worry too much, Reds fans, but still something to keep your eye on as the season does go ahead. Asa Lacy having Tommy John, again, just hasn't worked out as a Kansas City Royal, as a guy in the major league. So it's not great, but what are you going to do about it? Eduardo Rodriguez, something else I'm watching, seeing if that lat issue does come up again, flare up again, see if it does affect him going into the season. So is a big part of the Diamondback season this year, big part of what they are going to do in their NL pennant defense. So something I'm watching. Astros, not a great decision in my opinion not to produce starting pitching, but it is their decision. And talking about Jackson Merrill and Tyler Wade being selected by the Padres. So that is it for our show today. Thank you so much for watching. It is really appreciated. Again, follow us anywhere you can see content and updates. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff. So again, anywhere you can get content and updates. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means so much to us. Have a great day, and we'll see you at Baseball Threads tomorrow. Goodbye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.